Welcome to the Naomi Show.
Hello there and welcome to the show, and I'm joined today by psychologist John Aiken, who's here to talk about jealousy, your own jealousy and that of your partner. And John, I think you'd say that it's pretty much common for most people to feel jealous once or twice.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's perfectly fine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can go home afterwards and laugh about. You know, your partner might be getting hit on by some stranger at a bar, and
Yes.
and you giggle about it when you're going home. It's also, you know, it's nice to know that your partner's attractive and other people around you
Yes.
find them attractive. But the problem is when one or both of you can't deal with an event like that. You don't find it funny, or it actually hits some of your insecurities, and then you start to argue and get in a conflict. And then other jealous behaviours become very destructive.
So what's at the core of jealousy?
Well, I think for some people, they're quite insecure. And, you know, when they get into relationships, they don't feel like they're able to essentially run the relationship. They know where they stand, and they often feel quite vulnerable.
And it's a lack of trust as well, isn't it?
Lack of trust, yes, absolutely.
Which may come from anywhere. It might, you know, their background,
from
past
upbringing
loves.
to a last relationship that's not worked out. But what happens is that little behaviours that many people might not find particularly problematic at all, for someone who's very insecure, will really spin out, and then they'll start to become quite jealous, and then you start to get these various signs that basically will become very destructive.
Yeah, now, there are times when it is justified though, isn't it? I mean, let's face it,
Yes.
we may have all been out with someone once or twice, or even actually done it ourselves, where the partner tries to make you feel jealous.
Yeah, and what I would say...
Winds you up a bit.
Yeah, and I'd say, you know, if your partner is jealous or feeling jealous, just take a moment and stop and check in with your own behaviours, because often you are doing some things that might be contributing to that sense of insecurity. You might be flirting too much at a bar or at a cafe with somebody, or you might have given out a card, or you may not be contactable by the cell phone when you say you are.
Yes.
So various behaviours might be creeping in that just are giving that signal to the person that, you know, I'm actually not really sure where I stand. So check those first behaviours of yours.
But of course, jealousy, when it runs rampant, it can be incredibly destructive, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you're, for instance, that person who is jealous, then you're going to be doing all sorts of different behaviours. You'll be interrogating them, following them around, or snooping. You'll be constantly trying to contact them, you know, all the time. And you may find that, you know, you even restrict them from who they can go out to see, and joined at the hip, follow them around like a shadow.
Yeah.
So lots of problem behaviours can start coming into the relationship, which essentially suffocates it. And the person on the receiving end of that can feel very controlled and disempowered.
So how can you control and deal with your own jealousy in a relationship?
Yeah, if you're the person that feels jealous, then you've got to set yourself some rules. Let's take for granted that the person isn't doing anything wrong.
Yep.
So you're now looking at yourself and you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to stop interrogating them, asking them direct sorts of confrontational questions when they come in the door. So you hold back on those.
So like, where have you been? What have you been doing? Who have you been seeing?
You know, what have you been doing?
How do we know all of these?
I know. Then you'd stop your snooping behaviours. So you wouldn't go through their wardrobe, or you wouldn't be checking their phone all the time. You'd hold back on those sorts of, or driving by their work.
Or checking their emails.
Checking their emails. You'd stop doing that, absolutely. Then you'd give them space. Encourage them to have separate interests, activities, leisure sorts of experiences.
That would be very hard for someone who's got jealousy problems, wouldn't it?
And closely associated with that, you'd also give them time to have separate friendships. So they might catch up with someone once or twice a week, you know, different friends. You'd also limit your contact with them through the day. So no longer are you sending them 10 texts, or ringing them 5 times, or dropping them 2-page emails in the middle of the day.
Do people do that?
Oh, yeah, intense, you know, intense sort of
that's
feelings.
All consuming, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're essentially, what you're doing there as someone who's the jealous party is you're letting go of those behaviours, and you're giving your partner a chance to breathe and a chance to be independent. And what you'll find is that they'll love you for it. And as a result of that, they'll want to spend more time with you, which is what you're after anyway. So in this case, if you're jealous, letting go actually gives you more. Yeah. Whereas, unfortunately, where they go wrong is that they feel like they've got to be involved in their life more. And that pushes them away.
So if you're dealing with a partner's jealousy, how do you deal with that?
Okay, well, what you do is you'd firstly check your own behaviour, make sure you're not contributing to anything. But if you're not, then what you do is you sit down and you say, these are the behaviours that I'm finding a problem. You know, you interrogating me, or constantly ringing, or constantly following me in the car, these sorts of things. You then say, this is the impact it has on me. Yeah. Namely, I feel smothered, I feel scared, I feel like you're a psycho and this is going to end in a horrible way. You know, so it's putting me off. So you give them that emotional impact that it has on you. Then you set them some new rules. And then if they don't change, you get out of there. Because
you want to listen to what their reasonings, though, wouldn't you? You want to kind of talk it all the way through and listen to why they feel like that. Maybe you might uncover that they've been cheated on in a past relationship and some of the things you're doing just seems like the other partner, so just be a little bit compassionate about it.
Absolutely. You do want to explore that. But I think the important thing there is that you've looked at yourself and you realise that there's nothing there that's really going on that's contributing to this. Unlike some people who are making their partner jealous, you're not. And so at that point, sure, by all means talking through it, getting understanding where they're coming from. But what's really important is letting them understand the impact they're having on you, the feelings that you have, and giving them clear guidelines about how it has to run in the future. Otherwise, look, if they're not getting it after those guidelines and after telling them how it's impacting on you, then they're never going to get it. And you're in that situation where you have to move on.
Okay. All right, John, thank you so much for that. And we look forward to your company next time.
Your love life, let's talk about it at naomishow.com.